Hello, people of YouTube. Wanted to talk about a game coming out on October 2nd, Resident Evil 6. Uh, a lot of people have mixed reviews of the game based on the trailer. Uh, well, not everybody, a lot of people think that Resident Evil 6 shouldn't exist. It should have ended with 5, Wesker's done, that's it, problem solved. You know, Capcom has a multi-million-dollar franchise, which is Resident Evil, which, you know, from Resident Evil 1, they started out with something small, and of course now it became extremely big. The movies, the branch off with the movies, and, the CGI movies and whatnot. Also, a lot of people are saying that Capcom's trying to take the Call of Duty fan base and bring them over to Resident Evil. That's what a lot of people say. Which I've had a few arguments with some people on here trying to get their logic on that. Because if you think about it, which is pretty simplex, if you think about it, Call of Duty I'm not gonna down Call of Duty, don't get me wrong, I play it from time to time, I play it just to have a good time, I'm not gonna be one of those hardcore fanboys or anything of the series, it's just not really my cup of tea, but nevertheless, I enjoy playing it. I mean, it's just, it is the same thing, different story, but, just for a first-person shooter, it is the biggest top-selling first-person shooter franchise in the world, which is still fun, But the argument I have here is people are comparing Call of Duty to Resident Evil, which I don't understand how you could do that. Because first of all, Call of Duty is a first-person shooter. It's not a cover-based shooter. It's not a third-person shooter. But my feelings here are, like I said, people don't think that Resident Evil 6 should exist. Uh, and also, there's a lot of plot holes, which I don't understand why people go on here and, kind of predict something, or it's almost like in their mind they have a premonition about the whole story. Which, the new CGI movie coming out, I don't think it's out yet, as far to my knowledge, it's not. It's called Resident Evil Damnation, which is another CGI Resident Evil movie. That's supposed to fill in the backstory for, according to other people, fill in the backstory for Resident Evil 6. Which, how would you know that? First off, if the movie's not out yet and the Resident Evil 6 is not out yet, people come up with their own conclusions without even, watching or playing these Resident Evil products. I think Resident Evil 6, they've added a lot of good features to it, like you can walk and shoot, you can flip back, crawl, do things like that. If I was to compare it to anything, in its own right would be Gears of War, because you can actually, walk and shoot, or there's a lot of, I wouldn't even say that, there's a lot of other third-person shooters you can walk and shoot, but, and also people are not liking the fact that it's, from what they say, it is not the old school survival horror. The thing about that is, the old generation is gone. You're not going to see in a Resident Evil game anymore of the old school. I mean, if you want fixed camera angles, play PlayStation 1, or if you have a PSN, Xbox Live, or whatever, get the Resident Evil games on there. I have Resident Evil 2 I downloaded from PSN, and it was fun, but that was old school. If you're looking for fixed camera angles or anything like that, Resident Evil games nowadays is not your cup of tea. I'm sorry to break this to you, but people people, the new Resident Evil 6 is going to have a little bit of that old school element. It's going to have that old, Leon's campaign is supposed to be more of the traditional Resident Evil experience, while Chris is Resident Evil 5 style, and Jake Mueller, who is Wesker's son, according to the trailer, is a mixture of both. Okay, with that being said, people cannot predict or cannot come up with, with 100% in their eyes, facts of what the game is going to be like. They haven't played it. I'm just going off what Capcom, reps have been talking about and what their forums have been talking about and things like that. To me, I think Resident Evil, it looks impressive. I mean, a lot of old school characters are coming back. You got Sherry Birkin who's back. People are older. And anyway, going back to Wesker's son, people think he's a clone. I disagree with that. And people are wondering who's the mother of Wesker Jr., Jake Mueller. They're not going to throw everything in the trailer. What would be the point of playing the game if they're going to reveal everything? A lot of you out there who are skeptical in the game, give it a shot. If it's not the Resident Evil, if you don't feel like it's a Resident Evil, give it a playthrough. Play all 3 stories when it comes out on October 2nd of this year. Give it a shot. If you feel that it's not the way you think it is, then of course give your own opinion. But don't come up with 100% in your eyes truth and give people, false information when you don't know anything about in detail. About people are talking about the backstory and everything. You don't know what they're going to put in there. There's twists. I've heard on the forums that there's going to be plenty of unexpected events. But anyway, that's my feelings on that. Just wait till October 2nd and then give your review then. But like I said, I'm just going off of, I'm not listening to anybody who's coming up with within their eyes 100%. This is set in stone. This is what's going on. You don't know. You don't work for Capcom. You're not a developer. Anyway, those are my feelings on it. I would like to hear from people's input. What do you feel about the Resident Evil, where they're taking the Resident Evil, the evolution of Resident Evil. But anyway, those are my feelings. But just give a like, give a comment. Have a good day.